Have seats, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the session. So this event is all about the launch of the joint UN report, the 2023 review of climate ambition in Asia Pacific region. So I would love not to preempt it, but just to show it to you so you can enjoy and pick some lessons. At the end of the day, we shall have a Mentimeter where you will tell us your takeaways, what have you learned from this session and the whole climate week. So where's my DJ? As she's preparing to show us the video, kindly hold on and give her a minute. It's coming up, and please prepare your takeaways at the end of the day.
In the Asia-Pacific region. The Asia-Pacific region, from snow-capped mountains to the warm tropics, is home to diverse landscapes, climate, societies, cultures, religions, and economies. However, we are all facing unprecedented climate emergency. The region is warming faster than the global average, causing glaciers to disappear, permafrost to thaw, and incidences of floods, typhoons, heat waves, droughts, and other disasters to increase. These have resulted in human and economic losses that are undermining hard-won development gains and human security in both developed and developing countries alike. To combat climate change and reduce emissions, all member states in the region have submitted nationally determined contributions, or NDCs. 12 of these have more than 2 NDC updates. Additionally, 39 member states have made carbon neutrality pledges, and 23 have developed long-term low-emission development strategies. While these efforts are commendable, they are still inadequate to deliver on the desired 1.5-degree pathway and are not even sufficient to contain warming within 2 degrees centigrade. The second NDC update cycle, taking place in 2024-2025, offers a great opportunity for countries to raise their NDC ambition for emission reductions towards 2035. ESCAP calls for attention to 3 key actions. Action number 1, to continue to implement current commitments and align targets. NDCs and sectoral policies should be recalibrated to align with a 1.5-degree trajectory, as well as long-term strategies and net zero targets. A just transition approach is critical to ensure full decarbonization of energy, transport, and industrial sectors, as well as sustainable agri-food systems transformation. Action number 2, to engage everyone in charting out climate futures. NDC processes should engage the youth, women, indigenous peoples, business communities, civil society, and all stakeholders. Realizing a just and effective transition to a net zero economy is only possible through inclusive and future-oriented engagement. Action number 3, to invest in nature-based solutions, taking into account their long-term sustainability and resilience. In the Asia-Pacific region, forests represent over a third of the global forest carbon stock. Coastal habitats, such as mangrove forests, have the capacity to sequester 2 to 4 times the amount of carbon per area than terrestrial forests. Half of the global mangroves are found in the Asia-Pacific region, and this represents a significant opportunity that should be leveraged for climate action. It is therefore critical to restore and protect nature by engaging local communities and indigenous peoples who are the best stewards of nature. The Asia-Pacific region stands at crossroads, and climate action can make a difference. Want to learn more? Read the Joint UN Report 2023 Review of Climate Ambition in Asia-Pacific, Just Transition Towards Regional Net Zero Climate Resilient Development.
That is it. We have the 3 actions. And please help me give a very big round of applause to the team that put the report together. Thank you, team. So without wasting much more time, let me call on my panelists to give us a few highlights about the report. May I have Mr. Moza Harul Alam from UNEP to give us a few highlights about regional commitments. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to say that please go and read the report, but before I basically make my request, let me highlight a couple of points. Many of you know that IPCC has made the recommendation to keep the temperature within 1.5 degree increase. We need to reduce 43% of the greenhouse gas compared to 2019 level by 2030. The reason I'm mentioning it, we have applied that for the Asia Pacific countries and tried to find out the gaps between the commitment made by the 39 countries through their updated nationally determined contribution. And this is the report basically giving you the information by the countries as well as region as a whole. If we look into the countries in the region, obviously it is not completely different when we are talking about the G20 member state and their contribution. It mirroring exactly the same when we are looking into the G20 member state in this region. They are actually even contributing more if we compare that from the global, the contribution. Is about 85% is emission coming from the G20 member state of this region. The rest also coming from other couple of countries, not all the countries that we have the region, because many of you know that countries are also vulnerable. We have the small island developing states. We have the states with the low-lying, the coastal areas. So it is not that every country is in the region equally contributing. So that's the one. The second thing that I'd like to mention in terms of inclusion of the gender, you have heard the number 12, and that 12 is basically who has submitted updated indices more than one times. But the number 12 that I'm going to mention to you is how many indices incorporated gender dimension, very inclusive manner in their indices. So number is not very encouraging if we are going to talk about the gender responsive, gender sensitive, the action that we need to foster. We only have the 12 countries. So we need to work more on inclusion of the gender. We looked into the commitments. Many of you know that commitments are not basically submitted in the same fashion. The countries submitted their commitment, which is absolute target. Countries submitted their commitment saying that we are going to reduce from business as usual. Countries submitted their commitment saying that we'll be reducing emission by intensity target. It was a very challenging task for the team, and I'd like to thank the team to take that challenge and basically trying to understand what does that BAU means and converting them into an absolute target. So I'd like to thank the team for doing that work. So you will be able to learn more about the gaps as a whole, which you have seen the number, but you'll be able to see by the group of countries and the countries. So I invite you to come and join the tomorrow's session. So it is not that please read the report, please join the session, which will help you not to take your time and go through reading the report. Come tomorrow's side event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please come tomorrow at 10:30 to 11:30 in Tanjung Puteri, room 304. Thank you so much. Next, we have some highlights about just transition frameworks to support achieving net zero in Asia Pacific by Ms. Kusum Lahatar from UNFCCC in Bonn. Kusum, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today and presenting this report, which do contain a very important element while we are heading towards our global target of reducing emissions in Paris Agreement we all set together, and that is just transition. And though this report also highlights kind of a similar aspect that the number of NDCs which are talking about who have incorporated just transition formally in their NDC reports, it's not very encouraging. From this region, it is only 8 numbers who have incorporated fully saying that they are going to have just transition. However, I would like to here emphasize that there is no NDC which can get to their commitment without having a transition plan. So whether it is formally incorporated or not incorporated, what is important is to realize that transition is going to happen, and we have to talk about just part of it. A lot of time we have seen, and I have even heard it in another event I was just coming from, that there were a lot of misconceptions about it as well. The just part has to not confused with transition itself. Like, it's not about technology, it is not about something else which will help you, which will make you transition. Like energy transition is different than just energy transition, or energy transition is different than just transition. Unless we incorporate this social element of the transition, so when we say just energy transition, we are actually going to talk about how we are going to make transition on energy sector just. That means we are taking everybody with us in this energy transition. And when we talk like this, when we understand like this, that is what we mean by just transition. And that is, I think, in this report is highlighted as well. You will see some key highlights to case studies as well, which do talk about how we can, when we are moving to our transition to the energy targets or other sectors targets, whether it is nature-based solution, any sector we are talking about, this just part is a key element to reach our global targets which we are aiming to. So have a look to the report. Hopefully this is going to be helpful, and we are looking forward to have you tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. I think we all gonna be just. Don't just say just transition or energy transition. Make sure you leave no one behind. So next, let me have Miss Anita Nikolava to tell us about the ecosystems as carbon sinks in the Asia-Pacific region. You have the floor, 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Precious, and for the reminder of the time. Yes, so what I would like to say is that with this chapter, which is related to nature-based solutions or the ecosystems-based approaches to climate change action, we are closing the circle. We are adding the 3 elements, the economic and energy sectors, plus the social part, where we're taking care of everybody that is engaged in the economy. And then we're looking now to our biggest ally in this fight against climate change that we've caused, our nature. So how we can engage nature, what we need to do to nature to enhance its ability to really help us to exist more. Otherwise we will disappear soon, right? And in that chapter, we're looking into the status of the ecosystems in our region. This is the most diverse region, one of the most diverse places on the planet, with immense diversity, but immense speed of disappearance of species, be it as animals or plants. And then we are also looking at the opportunities of engaging local communities and indigenous people, women and youth in this process. Women and youth are the most impacted. How to make young people stop looking at their phones and go back to nature, plant their veggies, their trees, be walking more in nature and enjoying it. We're also looking at some problems that are coming with the thawing third pole of the planet, which is in our region. This is the Hindu Kush Himalaya area with the biggest and most rich on sweet water reserves on the planet. That 200 million people depend on that water, but also suffer from floods and destruction when the gloves really burst. And so, as my colleague said, tomorrow you're going to learn a little bit more. Please come and enjoy the presentation of the report that will give you some good insights. Was I in time?
Of course, of course. Thank you so much. So next we have a QR code. I'll ask you to scan it and give us your takeaways or your key takeaway from this session or the whole week. What have you enjoyed? What is your most, valuable experience from this climate week? So we have the code over there. Go to yourmenti.com and enter that code, 8641 3535. 8641 3535. Who is not yet there? I hope everyone is there. So please share your answers. We are waiting for your responses. Think about being just. Think about taking back the youth to nature, because nature plays a very big role as a carbon sink. Energy transition must be just. Excellent. Keep them coming in. Just transition is the only way to transition. Of course, leaving no one behind. Just dimension of just transition. Just transition requires a holistic approach. Great to see different UN agencies coming together for the producing of the report. How excellent. Awareness is not enough and behavior must change, of course. I agree. Just transition, the social component is essential. Technologies are embedded in society. We are not doing enough to understand the impacts of our action, be it mitigation and adaptation. I just wish we knew the impact. Someone should tell us how our behavior impacts on climate change. The need to invest in NBS. Ms. Anita rightly talked about it, that we need to go back to nature. Keep them coming. The need to invest in NBS, just dimension of just transition. Everyone is talking about just transition. And as Ms. Kusum later talked about it, the just transition needs to be just. Kindly be just. When you're transitioning to energy and talking of energy transition, please be just. Include the gender dimension, youth, women, the indigenous peoples who are the best stewards of nature, as the video talked about it. So I think these are the key takeaways from you all. Allow me thank you and invite you once again to tomorrow's event from 10:30 to 11:30 in Tanjung Poteri 304 to have more about this report, as Mr. Alam invited you today. Before I conclude, I would like us to have a family photo, the Joho family. So please join, join me on this platform and let's have a family photo. Thank you so much. You're free to do any pose of your choice.
Including the dancing.
Including the dancing, he says. Please come, please join us. Please join us. We need a big family, the Joho family. Yeah, this should be memorable. Please come, join us, everyone. Whether you're passing by, please come. Please join. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's have it. Yes, please. Any pose is okay. We are in the Action Hub. Yeah, you can do anything. Yeah.
I would jump otherwise, but I'm afraid.
So, yeah, please. Yes, please.